It is a scam when you don't allow everyone to operate on fair terms.
We are the Robin Hoods of sports betting. We take something back from the rich bookies and enable our customers to beat them instead.
G'day everyone, welcome to episode 63 of the TradeMate Sports Betting Podcast. I mean, talk about an intro. For those tuning in for the live stream, I know you're probably not going to get an intro like that if you're listening to the podcast back, but the fans have just been treated to one of the greatest intros of all time. Got the old countdown timer going, little intro with Jonas and Marius. So welcome along. Today we'll be talking about EPL Game Week 9 and UFC 255. And if you have any questions at all related to this weekend's games or betting in general, just send them through and we'll either get to them during the podcast, or we'll talk about them at the end. So you can send them through on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Firstly, I'll introduce our man, our card betting expert, George Gamble. Mate, how are you?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm keeping well despite, we're into the second week of the second lockdown now, so halfway through. But yeah, I'm just glad the international break's over. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But glad to see proper football coming back, and obviously we can get our teeth into that one. But no, apart from that, doing well.
And mate, you timed your first loser in a long time, the best bet of the week, and you timed that well, mate, just before the international break. You probably thought I wouldn't bring that up, eh?
No, I know what you're like, mate. I know what you're like. If you didn't bring it up, I'd have been disappointed. It'd have gone against everything that I know about you. So, but no, we're still 6 out of 8, so they're still quite good.
Yeah, 6 in the last 8, mate. You can't complain with that.
No,
and
exactly.
As you can see, the bottom of your screen, pro sports bettor, the trader himself, Harout Massoyan. How are you, mate?
Good, man. Good. Thanks. I'm really excited. I'm actually really excited about the international break. You guys see my Armenia get 2 nice wins for promotion out of our division.
Oh, really?
In the UEFA Nations League. Yeah. We beat Georgia, and then we beat North Macedonia.
Oh, good stuff, mate. So what does that qualify you for?
I think you get over to they restructure the groups and you go over to the next group. Yeah.
Oh, nice, mate.
So like the higher division. Yeah.
Nice. Armenia doing absolute bits.
Yeah, even without Mkhitaryan, so it's pretty impressive, those 2 results.
So who have you got in your team? Mkhitaryan's obviously the big one, but anyone else?
Not really. Everyone's like
a
Russian leagues and stuff.
You and Armenian Bettor going out for a run soon, I reckon, mate.
Yeah.
But mate, yourself, you had a few good picks 2 weeks ago. A little bit of a CLV, as always, as we like to call it, closing line value in the UFC. You had Romanov at 1.27 and he moved into 1.18. Unfortunately, the Ian Heinisch fight got cancelled because I believe him or his opponent got corona. And then you had Boscher at 1.33 and he moved into 1.26. So, mate, funny enough, you predict a bit of closing value, eh?
Yeah, I really enjoy looking at the UFC stuff because I'm really comfortable in terms of reading how markets will probably go. So I'm excited to share more stuff today.
Yeah. And off the top, we should probably let everyone know this is going to be your last time on the podcast, mate. Sad stuff.
Yeah, it's getting really busy. College basketball is going to start and stuff, but I'll be around. We'll still do some podcasts and stuff together, just probably not the previews every week.
How good is that? That's great news, mate. I thought we were losing you for good. I might cry.
Alex had practically prepared to use you, mate. Honestly, there's like a 5-minute segment just purely dedicated to.
You know what the real reason is why I'm leaving, right? I asked you to do some basketball quiz questions, and you haven't done any, so yeah. I gotta take a break.
That's a good. That's a very, very good call. And on the subject of the quiz question, I have my little quiz question here. I'm just wondering where I wrote it down because I don't like to put it on our script. Oh, here it is, because I don't want you guys getting any kind of preparation in, so I can win one for once. So here we go. Here she is. The first three clubs to be relegated from the Premier League. So I think it was the 92-93 season. You might help me out here, George. So if you can name all three, George, you're a genius. And Harout, mate, if you can, give me one or, get close, mate, I'll give you the win there too.
All right. See what I can do.
All right. But we excited, fellas. We've got the EPL back. Big game week coming up. We've got games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Some actually really big fixtures. I actually found it quite hard to pick just 3 games from the games we've got on because there's a couple of big fixtures on. But we'll start off with Saturday. We've got Tottenham versus Man City, and up on your screen, you should be able to see the odds right there, courtesy of Odds Checker, who we're not sponsored by, but maybe Odds Checker just throw us a few bucks because we're giving you some free promotion here. As you can see on your screen, the best odds for Man City right now are 1.86. The draw 4.15 at Matchbook, I think there, and then Tottenham, you can get 4.3. Tottenham currently on a run of 3 EPL wins in a row, and in terms of their XG ratio, they're actually sitting in 3rd place and 2nd place on the overall ladder of the EPL. Few injuries though. I mean, that'll be kind of the story of today, going through all the injuries in the EPL at the moment. You've got Matt Doherty out, Bergwijn and Lamela are also most likely out too. Man City, you're probably better talking about the injuries there, George, but they're sitting mid-table. Another slow start to the season, you'd have to say. They do have a game in hand, but I don't know, you kind of get the feeling that they really need to get back on track here, and they need a big scalp. So firstly, George, do you know some of the latest on Man City's injuries?
So Fernandinho and Sergio Aguero are definitely out. That's 100% for them. And there's a few that are kind of doubtful as well. So you've got, actually, to be fair, Zinchenko's definitely out as well. And you've got Mendy, Sterling, and Ake, who are all doubtful. I think they're going to face some late tests as well. But yeah, I think for a lot of clubs, the injuries are building up quick and fast. So I'm hoping obviously to see some of those that are doubtful actually come back into the fold. So I think Sterling and Ake are most likely to, if they're to pass fit, I think those two will be the most likely to. But yeah, I'm just looking at this. I can't believe the odds on Tottenham. I think those ridiculously. I can't believe Man City. I know it. Given the way the season started, I don't think Man City should really be less than. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see them at evens. I just wouldn't. Like at 1.83, I think that's far too short, given the current run of form, given everything that's going on. You look at the statistics as well. Following the opening weekend defeat to Everton, Spurs are currently on the longest unbeaten run in the Premier League, winning 5 and drawing 2. So yeah, on a 7-game unbeaten run. They won this exact fixture 2-0 last season as well. And only against Chelsea have City lost more Premier League games than against Spurs. So with that as well, Spurs have won both of the meetings against City at their new ground. They've won both of them. And with the one thing I've noticed with City is we're struggling for goals. I don't think we scored more than 1 goal. No, we scored 3 goals in our opening game of the league this season away at Wolverhampton, and since then we've only managed to score 1 in each of the last 3 away games. So we're struggling for goals. Obviously, you've got Gabriel Jesus back, which is a plus, but we're struggling in that nature. Defensively, we look much more solid since the arrival of Ruben Diaz, who's taken to the Premier League like a duck to water. He's just been brilliant. But yeah, I think City will struggle here. I don't see City getting the win, as much as that pains me to say. I'd be tempted to have a sort of nibble on Tottenham here, just at that price. But also, we'll go on to it at the end for bets of the weekend. But as this after the international break, for me, it's been locked down, so I kind of want to I'm going to be brave and go with this game for my bet of the weekend. All biases aside, but I've got a nice pick at just over evens for this one, but obviously we'll discuss that towards the end. But yeah, with the injuries, I do quite like Spurs. I mean, the trouble is my old man's a Spurs fan, so I don't want to say that too loudly. But yeah, I'd have to say we'll do well to get a result here, get 3 points here. We'll do very well to do that. So for me, Tottenham will draw at least. If their odds are at 4.2, I'm sure you'd be able to get on Tottenham double chance at just over even. So I'd be tempted to have a play on that.
It feels like a big game though, doesn't it? I feel like Man City, like I said before, I feel like they need a big win. I feel like it's just been such a long time since they've really asserted their dominance, and you've looked at City and thought, they'll be hard to beat this season. And then on the other hand, you look at Spurs. They're on a great run at the moment, and people are kind of slightly hyping their chances. Sorry, but they need a big scalp, don't they? They need a big scalp.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had obviously the chance to do that at home to Liverpool last weekend. Obviously, you could argue both sides could have come away with the win in that one. But as well as that, obviously, an overlooked part of it, again, it's a Guardiola against Mourinho. So they're always good games to kind of watch and see those two go head-to-head. With Pep, obviously we mentioned just before we started the podcast, Pep's obviously today signed a new contract for another 2 years to stay at City, up until summer 2023, the earliest he can depart. And I think that's such a big plus, because you can finally kind of put to rest, is he going to be there? Is he not going to be? You can begin to plan for the following seasons in terms of recruitment and every other aspect. And for the players as well, stability is so underrated. If you're constantly chopping and changing managers, changing the style where you want to play, with the rumour mill going on, it can be unsettling. So for me, it can only be, as a City fan, it can only be a plus that Guardiola's staying. But yeah, I think there's a lot of different ingredients that are going to make this a very, very interesting game. I think this could have the potential to be game of the weekend, personally. But yeah, there's lots of different facets to it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm slightly dreading it, but I'm also looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just good to have football back in general. You can't really complain, mate, can you?
Absolutely.
Harout, then, on the back of what George has said, he's not too confident about City's chances. Has there been any movement for Tottenham?
No, the market's been stale for that. I haven't seen much movement since the opener, but for the total goals in the game, I have seen some movement there. They do like the overs in that game, because just a few days ago, the over 3 goals was 2.08, and now we're sitting at around 1.97. So there's clearly some backing there on the over total goals, and I see a few over 3s available for me at 2.0. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on this and see if I'm gonna start adding positions here over the next couple hours. I really like what I'm seeing. I think this can very likely continue to go, and I think as far as everything available to bet on in this game for sides and totals, I would probably go with that.
What about the EPL in general, mate? Has there been much action? Like, I mean, it's Thursday night. We're still 2 days away from the games. Is there? Because I mean, the players are only just getting back from international break now. There's so many injuries and so many people pulling out because they've got COVID. Like, are people taking it as an opportunity to bet, or are they just so worried that any second someone else could be ruled out that they're waiting right until kickoff?
I mean, this season, we've been seeing more movement closer to the start of kickoff as opposed to any other time. But I mean, that's a case-by-case situation, because there has been other times where news comes out early and then I see movement. But right now, in terms of like overall movement, I don't see a whole ton. Again, majority of the markets now, especially like in EPL, like the early markets that open, I don't really see, so much movement as opposed to some of the other smaller leagues. It's just in terms of like opening lines, I'm not saying the opening lines are perfect, but they're gonna surely be more efficient than any other league.
Yeah, for sure. And just had a quick question come through about 10 minutes ago, actually. It's from Francisco Tipster. I don't know if you guys follow the likes of 538 and Infogol football predictions. He just wanted to know your thoughts. Your thoughts about the 538 and Infogol football predictions. Do you use them, Harout?
No, there is no advantage there in the 538 models. I mean, that's public information. So if
Yeah.
there was a lot of money being made using those, everyone would be on it, and then the market would be efficient based on those numbers. I back tested some of the 538 stuff, and I've looked at it in the past. To me, it's not a plus EV model to follow. There's a lot of variables that aren't accounted for in there, especially in a year like this year. So I wouldn't really I wouldn't heavily rely on it. But if you want to use it as like a baseline to kind of see, you know, where things should be, I mean, it's always a tool that you can just utilize just to get a general idea of what's going on.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I guess XG and all these kind of metrics are bloody brilliant and they're accurate and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is that they're so good that the compilers and all them use it, don't they? So whenever, a game comes out as released, like it's all factored in. So it's not like you can really gain an edge there anymore.
Yeah, majority of the time, your best information is going to be following the market. I mean, you have to think that in the market is the best information there. I mean, there's wisdom of the crowds. Everyone's placing their bets. The sports books are factoring all of these. Players are profiled, and you just have to kind of you have to respect the market. And I think that's the best metric in terms of modeling for each stuff. It's really hard. There's only one or two guys that like have that advantage that can really do it at a good scale. Like, I mean, look at a company like Star Lizard. I mean, even they grind away and model, and they're taking 1%, 2%, 3% edges. It's nothing like there's no like real good public model out there that's going to get you anything better than reading the information in the market.
Yeah, true. All right, fellas. So what's your pick there, Harout? You like? Did you say you like the overs?
Yeah, I like the overs for now. I feel like that's the side of liquidity. If I'm going to be playing anything that already has current early movement, I do like the overs in that game because, as I said, we saw it open at 2.08 for the over threes, and we're already seeing it trend towards 1.97. So if we're going to set a probability on which way it'll most likely go, it'll continue to go that way.
Terrific, mate. All right, Sunday, Leeds versus Arsenal. Big game here. I'll just get the odds up on your screen so you can all see where we're sitting at. But at the moment, we've got Arsenal. Best odds you can get is 2.28. The draw 3.3 and Leeds 3.76. The best odds you can get there. Rodrigo is back, so huge news there for Leeds. Should give them a bit of a boost. But the most troubling thing for Leeds, you'd have to say, when you look at the number, when you look at their XG, is the XG against. Sorry, they're sitting at 2.33 goals this season. So they might have a pretty good attack, but their defense in terms of their XG is struggling a bit at the moment. Arsenal, on the other hand, I guess they're coming up against Leeds. Are coming up against, I would say, the worst attacking side in the EPL at the moment. Maybe the XG doesn't say that, but their attack has majorly been struggling. It's been quite painful as an Arsenal fan. Just to give you a bit of perspective, their attacking XG is behind the likes of Newcastle, Brighton, West Ham, Southampton, Aston Villa, Leeds, and Everton. So they are truly struggling in front of goal, and it's going to get even worse because our favourite man, El Neni, he's out. So good luck improving that XG with the best Egyptian out there out, the attacking emperor. And maybe Tierney might be rested too because it's just a farce what they did with him with Skull. And he played 3 games, started all 3 of those games. I just don't get it, considering he's one of Arsenal's most played players too. So, yeah, I mean, Arsenal's setup will be very interesting, I think, and I think it might disappoint a lot of fans because I think people are calling out for Arsenal to put in a more attacking structure. But I just think, Leeds are happy to press the advantage, so why not, just keep doing what we're doing and play off the back of that. I mean, I think it's going to disappoint a lot of fans, but I just don't see Arteta changing too much, at least for this game. What are you saying for this game, George?
I'm inclined to disagree. I mean, I get that you think it might be slightly disappointing, but you can only do with Arteta can only put out what he's got. You've got the likes of Thomas Partey, who's doubtful as well. He's got a thigh injury sustained before international duty, so it's kind of again facing a late fitness test, so he might be missing. But going with it, I mean, Leeds, when the season started, everyone was so impressed with how they play, the way that Bielsa got them playing football, and they've kind of flattered to deceive now. Really, it's only a few weeks in, and they're already getting, you could argue, found out. I think they tried, I believe it was a 3-3-3-1 formation before the break, and then got beaten 4-1. Going into this weekend's game, no side has conceded more Premier League goals than Leeds this season. They conceded 17. They've lost, in fact, their last. I don't remember, we were sort of talking earlier. I think we were saying that Leeds had won some games like 4-1 or by a massive scoreline. Well, they've lost their last 2 league games by a 4-1 scoreline as well. When they come up against anyone who's got any little bit about them, and despite the personnel missing, I do think Arsenal do have a bit about them. So I'm not surprised that they're favourites in this one. They've won 9 of their last 11 visits to sides in Yorkshire. They did lose their last visit there to Sheffield United in October, but I do fancy Arsenal for this one. I quite like those odds of 2.2, to be honest. I just think with Leeds, they're okay, but they're missing Calvin Phillips as well, and he's integral to the way that Bielsa wants them to play their football. As well, Diego Llorente, he's going to be absent as well as Adam Forshaw, Berardi. So, I think it's difficult for Leeds. They've been they almost look burnt out already in some of the moments that I've seen them in games. So I don't know about you, but from what you said, but I actually favour Arsenal in this one. And the odds obviously reflect that.
Yeah, I actually agree. I mean, kind of to what I said before. I don't think because there's obviously just a lot of discontent at Arsenal right now. It's the first time people are getting really upset with Arteta and wanting him to play more of an attacking structure, which I completely agree with. And I think he should do that in future games. I'm not sure who we've got after this, but I do not think this is the game to do it, because that Leeds are going to press the advantage against you. You can sit back. You don't have to dominate possession, and we can basically play it the same way we play the likes of Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and been successful in that way. So I don't really see the merit right now to changing things up just because of the timing, just because everyone's upset. I think that you got to pick the right game to do it. And I actually, like you said, I do favour Arsenal in this one. I think their setup actually helps them in this case. I think they can hopefully set up defensively in a way that frustrate Leeds and hit them on the break, because they're obviously very very vulnerable in defence at the moment.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I'd be almost tempted just to have obviously we'll speak to Harout shortly and see what kind of's going on with the goal line, but in the fact that obviously Patrick Bamford scored 7 goals in his 8 Premier League games for Leeds United. I think only Mark Viduka's netted more in the first 8 for Leeds. But just one of Bamford's 7 has come at Ellen Road, so he seems to favour travelling away and getting the goals there. And combined with that, Aubameyang he's had just 4 shots across his last 4 Premier League games, with the only one on target being a penalty against United. So he's been well out of sorts. So are both teams sets of centre forwards firing on all cylinders? I don't think they are. And with key men in midfield for both sides being missing, I do wonder. I don't see there being an absolute hatful of goals in this game. So it'd be interesting to see, like I said, what Harout says on the goal line. But yeah, with this one, I am struggling to kind of make a solid pick that I think I'd be happy to back that. There's so many different variables of what could happen. I think it'll be an interesting watch, but I don't see it being one to go down in the history books as one of the classics in the Premier League. I think it'll be a slightly dogged affair.
Okay, well, let's go to Harout then.
Yeah, in this matchup, I'm not really seeing much movement since the opener. I'm probably not going to really make a betting commitment here this early on. It's one of those things where I will monitor, because there is just a very slight support on Leeds United. I can see some support on the double chance. It's just something here tells me that some money will come against Arsenal, but I can't entirely say for sure. So it's one of those things where I want to monitor right now and see where it will go, closer over the next few days before the kickoff. But in terms of total goals market, we're not seeing movement like we saw in the Man City Tottenham game. This one's a little bit more stale right now. Again, I'll monitor that closer to the kickoff.
I mean, with Partey in doubt, if maybe punters are just waiting to see if Thomas Partey's going to play, because I guess that's a huge in or out for Arsenal and the game itself. So yeah, I think I would agree, Harout. I feel like there might be all the movement might happen in the last hour after the team lineups come out, just because of Partey and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Arteta does, whether he sticks with the likes of Willian and Lacazette, who have just been pretty atrocious, you would have to say, especially Lacazette. Lacazette's been really bad for a really long time. So, yeah, no, it'll be very, very interesting. So anything else on that one, Harout, or are you just going to have to wait on that one?
I think I'm going to pass right now. Even though I do see some early movement, it's not enough for me to make a commitment, because if I was to place a bet against Arsenal in any way, like double chance or even betting on Leeds United outright, my position just wouldn't be very liquid. So it's one of those things where if I don't have a really good read, it's better for me just to monitor the entire game and see if any opportunities come later on. But for example, in the Manchester City and Tottenham game that we covered just a few minutes ago, there's a little bit of a more different situation, a significant move. So placing on the over total goals in that game, I have a little bit more wiggle room. I would have a more liquid position by placing a bet on the overs, even though it's still early. So that's the kind of opportunity I would take early. Otherwise, in this game like Arsenal Leeds United, I'm going to pass on everything at the moment. Because, I play numbers and everything. So even though someone with a good model or a good read might know what the correct play is, but in a trading perspective, which is a lot of the practices on the TradeMates platform, I would just avoid this game at the moment.
Yep, terrific, mate. And did you say Diego Llorente was injured, George?
Yeah, so he's doubtful at the moment. So I think it's a groin or pelvic injury. So there's not a return date as of yet, but it looks like he could be ruled out. But again, it's more doubtful as opposed to a certainty. But I'd say it's more looking 70% likely that he's going to be ruled out of this one.
And we've also got Luke Anthony asking if Liam Cooper's injured.
No, there's nothing on Liam Cooper. Liam Cooper looks to be fit and available.
Yeah, okay. And we've got a fella here called SYUYYY. He said, is there a target sport in Japan? I'm not too sure what he's talking about, but if you guys have any idea, shout me an answer.
I'm just going to ask him to elaborate.
That's what normal people would do, but I'm obviously not normal. So yeah, elaborate there, mate, and we can get you sorted. Let's move on then. Liverpool Leicester, another big game here. But yeah, talk about injuries. We've got some serious injuries / COVID cases in this one. This is the list of injuries / COVID cases for Liverpool. You've got Salah, Gomez, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Thiago, Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Robertson. I think Robertson's in doubt. I don't think he's confirmed out. And then Leicester, they're basically missing all of their back line. So Sionku, Fofana, Castagni, and I don't know, I probably botched that. I'm sorry. Castaigne, maybe that's how you... Yeah.
Castagna.
Castagna, yeah, sorry, guys. And Ricardo Pereira. So they're all gone in defence, and Ndidi, who we've talked about previously on the podcast, is out too. I didn't even go through the odds for this one. I'm a bit ill-prepared, but yesterday the odds were 1.97 for Liverpool, 4.2 the draw, and 5.8 for Leicester to win, which I think is looks quite high. I'll just get the odds from Odds Checker up on your screen now so people can have a look at that. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this one, George?
Well, yeah, obviously it's not surprising to see obviously Liverpool favourites there, despite the number of personnel that are missing. Usually, I think if everyone's fit, you're more likely to see Liverpool at around 1.4 as opposed to the 1.9. It is crazy, to be fair. They've got, you could argue, 7 guaranteed starters out. Obviously missing quite a few, but it's their back line, obviously, that suffered You've got Fabinho, who is filling in a slot there anyway to kind of make up the numbers, and then he gets injured. I think one of the younger players, Reece Williams, he's been injured as well. But kind of looking at it in terms of just, I mean, obviously it's a probable lineups as opposed to what it's most likely guaranteed to be. But they've still got a forward line so far of Mane, Firmino, and Jota, which is still quite strong. Obviously got Wijnaldum. It looks like Milner might come in to fill a gap in that middle as well. So it's a relatively strong forward line, but it's who can provide those balls into him and what the personnel like in that midfield. Because obviously, you lose the likes of Henderson or Thiago, Fabinho, players of that ilk, you're going to suffer whoever you are. But it does interest me when we went back to doing the season preview podcast that we did. We were saying how Liverpool, they haven't had any injuries for the past 2 years, or no injuries of note. And we said, but it will change this season. Everyone's going to get injuries this season. And it looks like they're kind of getting them all at once. It's just mental. Every other day there's a new injury to be worried about if you're a Liverpool fan. But yeah, looking at it as well, Liverpool, they're unbeaten their last, I think, 9 home Premier League games against Leicester. They're unbeaten their last 63 Premier League home games. Ones at Anfield, which is just a ridiculous record in itself. And Leicester have got an absolutely abysmal record against Liverpool. I think they've won just 2 of their last 16 Premier League meetings with them. And they're without a win in 6 against them since a 3-1 victory at the King Power back in 2017. So I do still think Liverpool will come away with a win here. I do think they will. But interestingly, from McCard's perspective, last season Leicester were one of the most well-disciplined sides in the league. In terms of cards, they were quite clean. Whereas this season they've got the worst record so far for cards. So it's a complete shift in terms of aggressiveness, or whether it just be a case of referees pulling them up for more fouls, who knows? But yeah, it seems to be a complete shift in terms of their discipline. I was looking at the odds on here, and you can get quite a good price on the match result being Liverpool to win and under 4 goals in the game. Which Liverpool, how many times we see them winning? I've got 2-0, 1-0, or 2-1. This happens so often. It wouldn't surprise me if it landed again here. You can get that at 21-10. Whereas if you thought, if you wanted to play it a bit safer, and even went on just having a look here, under 5 goals, you're still getting around 6-4. So to be honest, Liverpool to win and under 5 goals in the game at 6-4, well above evens. I'd be quite tempted to take that price. I think it should be a lot shorter than that, regardless of who's out for Liverpool. Like I said, Jota's been in fine form since he's arrived. Fits like a glove into that Liverpool system, it seems. Mane can win a game on his own. You've got Firmino, the reverted defensive centre forward, up top doing what he does best and applying that pressure. I still think Liverpool will win this game. I really do. But and at that price, 6-4, that'd be a bet I think would be worth taking.
Mate, I actually disagree with everything you've just said.
Don't get me wrong, it's a brave decision, but I still think, because I know it's been on the media, look at all these players that are missing, but I still think they could do a job against Leicester, particularly at home.
I just couldn't back Liverpool at those odds, and I honestly just look at this game. This is completely from a punter's perspective, like from the naked eye. I just look at this game and think it's going to be a shootout. So I'd be interested to see what Harout, because I mean both defensive lines have been decimated, and both have good attackers. So just from a naked eye, I just think. I saw over three goals at 1.98 yesterday, and I thought that looked bloody good. But let's listen to Harout, the expert here.
I'm about to take over 3 goals at 2.01. I can get that.
Yeah. So that's a points victory.
There's been some support there, actually. There's been some support there, actually. It opened similar to the example we just used on the City game. It opened at a similar price point. It opened at like 2.034, but it's already trending towards like the 1.95 range. So I like the direction, similar to the Man City game. I'm probably going to get on that too right now. 2.01 I can get.
Yeah, well, yesterday it was at 1.98, and I thought that was value. So, I mean,
Liverpool 2-0. You've heard it here first.
Mate, if they can keep a clean sheet. So who would they if Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson are out, that leaves you, and Van Dijk and Gomez, that leaves you with who? Matip. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this Greek fella's name that plays
Tsimikas. I think Tsimikas returned now.
Oh,
Yeah,
mate, he might be out too. Actually, I didn't.
no, I think he's potentially fit, but well, no, it's looking like obviously if you say Robertson's definitely out, or is he just a doubt at the moment? I think it was a doubt, wasn't he?
Robertson's in doubt. Yeah.
So yeah, so I think obviously he could potentially play, but so yeah, let's just say he's ruled out. Let's just say worst case
Let's
scenario.
go
He's ruled out.
worst case. Yeah, let's be
You're gonna have
pessimistic.
you're probably gonna have Milner, filling at left back like he sometimes does, doesn't he?
Good call. Yeah.
Matip, and I think the young lad Phillips, centre half, who got man of the match on his debut. He looked quite solid, to be fair. Obviously, Reece Williams is out, so I'm thinking of who else at right back. Now, for them, obviously, if Tsimikas is fit, I imagine he might play there. Centre mid of Wijnaldum. Again, Henderson's a doubt, isn't he? So
I think he might be out.
because I know they're saying here, doubt. In fact, I'll be able to double check for you here. Actually,
Fabinho's out too, isn't he?
Oh yeah, Fabinho's out.
I didn't even include him in my list, but yeah, it's a decimated lineup.
Yeah, so it's looking like his potential return obviously could be this weekend. He's a 50% chance to play just with a thigh injury, but he had apparently it was just a bit of tightness at half time, and didn't want to carry on to make it worse. So he could feature. So it's like he could be involved. So and if obviously Henderson's involved, that's great news for Liverpool fans. So if they could have a midfield of Wijnaldum, Henderson, I'm trying to think what else they've got now. They could play in that centre mid. But then they've got that forward line that I mentioned earlier. So I still feel like they've got... It's not great, but I still feel like it's enough there to handle Leicester. But no, I think as I say this, you watch it be like 5-5 now or something ridiculous like that. But
well, that's the thing. They can obviously score goals. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about that. And there's no doubt. I don't think there's any doubt about Leicester being able to score goals against a smashed up Liverpool defence. So yeah, I don't know. I just see it as a shootout. But
yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Obviously, when their last things, the last two games, 2-1, and 2-1's quite a regular, 2-1 or 2-0 is quite a regular scoreline at Anfield. Particularly was last season as well. So that was my sort of thinking with it. And they're still going to go with that pressing style of play, aren't they? Regardless of who they play and the personnel, that's just the way they are. But again, what fun would it be if we were always on the same side of the one coin?
That was good. We had some real harsh disagreements there. Love that. And we got some questions coming through. So we got Daddy Danger. What a great. I mean, it's a slightly worrying name.
Can we just ask? Do you think he gave himself that nickname, or do you think that's what other people call him?
Oh fuck! I hope it's the first one.
Who do you envision when you see the name Daddy Danger? I think of someone like Danny Dyer just rocking about, watching YouTube, watching Trademark Sports.
I
don't want people to know I am. Sod it, Daddy Danger. That'll do. I love that name. I'm a big fan of that name. But yeah, sorry, carry on. I'm just taking over it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got a question saying, how do professional bettors find value on Pinnacle? Maybe you want to answer that, Harout?
I mean, bettors who use Pinnacle to find value are people who are usually modeling or making their own numbers on a game. So if they have, like, let's say their model says, okay, this team has 50% chance to win, and you're getting 2.2, and you're not really like chasing any steam or trying to bet a number that's like at a soft book.
Oh, we may have lost Harout. He might be gone.
Oh no!
He's trying to place that bet of over 3, eh? He's lost. He's used all his internet capacity. Well, we'll carry on. He's gone. Jeez, talk about putting me on the spot here, trying to figure out everything before we jump into the UFC.
When I saw someone said thought Vardy's washed. Now he's 33. Yeah. I presume he means washed up and not good anymore.
It's a big call.
The man's the joint top scorer in the Premier League like this season so far. Like he's, I know he's a lot of them. For example, I think there was 2 or 3 penalties that he might have scored against City. He scored a few penalties, but regardless, he's a fantastic striker. Like he's brilliant. I don't think I've disagreed with anything more.
Yeah, I think Luke's just gone for a bit of controversy there, and Yeah, I mean, you can't say he's washed up. I mean, maybe this time next year you could say that, but the way it's tracking, like he's well and truly in form. But yeah, all right, we'll carry on while we try and get Harout back in. We'll talk a bit of UFC 255 now. You got Davison Figueiredo. It's not a great card, is it? For a pay-per-view card, it's not very good at all. It's been I'm pretty sure this one's been hit with a bit of COVID, so I think that's why it's quite weak. You've got Davison Figueiredo defending against Alex Perez, and you've also got Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia for the flyweight championship. So both actually for the flyweight championship in the respective men's and women's divisions. Unfortunately, Ryan Bruno, smart sports trader, has not been able to join us today. He's away with a few other commitments. So what he's done is he's actually mailed me in his picks or some of his insights for some of the bouts. So firstly, I'll just read exactly what he's sent to me. And at the same time, I'll get up some odds on Odds Checker for you guys. So Dalby versus Rodriguez, that would be Nicholas Dalby versus Daniel Rodriguez. He said he thinks Dalby is too big currently, should be a little shorter in his opinion. He is solid everywhere, could grind out a win if he puts it all together. Dalby to win by decision at 6.0 or above looks solid to him. But I think I got on yesterday at 6.5. So I can have a quick look now and see what Dalby by decision is on Odds Checker. And that is sitting at, you can still get 6.5 on multiple bookies here. So Bet Victor, Betfair, Bet365, and Paddy Power. So so there's the first one he's got for you, and I'll just pull up his next pick, which is in the Mike Perry versus Tim Means fight. He likes Tim Means to win by decision at 4.75 with Bet365. Technically, he is better than Perry everywhere. Danger is Perry can crack, and Means' chin isn't the same as it was. Still, though, it stands out as value to me. 4.75, and I've just written down here 4.75 wasn't available for me yesterday. Let's have a look on Odds Checker here. You've got, is that 5? Oh, you can get 5 at Unibet. You can get 5 at 888 Sports too. So happy days there. You can get better than 4.75. So that's his second one. And then looking at the main event, as luckily I think Harout might be back now, you've got he thinks there's value there in Perez in the main event at 3.5. I think that might have come in a touch too, but I will get that matchup here. I'm bloody multitasking now. I'm going against every stereotype a man has ever been faced with because I am fucking struggling. But we will I will keep trying to do this for you. But he basically says looked really good in his last fight, puts out a lot of volume, really good leg kicking game. Feels like he could take over if he can withstand Figueiredo's power early. So maybe this is one you can wait on and then bet live if you can find the liquidity, if he survives the first 1 or 2 rounds, and have a crack at Figueiredo then. All right, I think we've got Harout back. Are you there, mate?
Yeah, I'm here. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, got you, mate. He's alive. He's back. I've just gone through a few of the fights in the UFC with Ryan's picks, what he's got. Let me just bring up the odds here for the Perez fight. But the best odds you can get on Perez right now are 3.4 at Bet Victor. So in Ryan's eyes, there's probably maybe still a bit of value there, I'd guess. But yeah, maybe like I said, you could wait until the live odds come out and see if he can survive that first 1 or 2 rounds with Figueiredo. So Harout, before I go to you, mate, I'll just, because you weren't here before, but basically Ryan likes Nicholas Dalby by decision at 6.5, Means by decision, Tim Means by decision at 5 actually you can get now, and Perez at 3.5 in the main event. I've just talked for a long time, mate. What have you got?
Yeah, 1 second. So I was loading up my screen, but for the are we talking about the 21st card or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we played some
Bella's
stuff there.
card,
Like,
I think.
yeah, we played some stuff there. Yeah, I see that Alex Perez. It's dropped a little bit. I mean, I could see that one coming down too. So I think that's a solid bet early on. I could see that one dropping. Like, for example, Penny's 3.3 right now. There are several places you can shadow that bet and start playing some 3.5s. Maybe you can even get better. But yeah, if he played by decision, I'm sure that's good too. Any kind of variation would be good there. The main play that we bet was Kyle Dawkins. We bet that early. I showed you the direct message of that. That's gone quite a bit. I probably played the best price on that. It was minus 215 American, which is only like 2 cents more than what Pinnacle opened at. We're at minus 320 now. But I'm seeing a few places still below like the minus 300 range. This one in particular, I don't know if it'll continue to go anymore, but I do like his probability of winning here. And we also played this Alain Juban. That one also had some support since the opener. I still like the price that's there. I feel like there's still a little bit of room to go forward.
Okay. So you got
what else did you say other than Perez? Yeah, what else did you say other than Perez that Ryan mentioned?
Yeah, so he likes. These are both method of victory bets, but he likes Nicholas Dalby, and also Tim Means, both of them to win by decision. You can get Nicholas Dalby at 6.5, and you can get Tim Means at 5. So they were the two that he liked. I don't know if you can get the odds for them up because they had decision wins, but I'm just getting up the odds for the Alan Joban fight. So the best you can get is at Sky Bet right now, and at Bet Victor you can get 1.73 for Joban.
Yeah, that's a good price.
Good price. Would you take it? How much lower do you think you would take on Joban?
I think even like 1 point, like for right now, based on the info I have, I'd probably feel okay playing like the 1.7. That 1.73 can go in though. It's a good price in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even just look at the exchanges. Exchanges are very, very small margins that they're taking. So I mean, you're significantly beating the big free line there.
There's a lot at 1.67.
Yeah, even that is okay. Like I said, and you guys can use the previous podcast as proof. You know, whenever I call something out, generally when they start moving early, as we reach closer to the fight time, they still haven't fully matured as we're doing these podcasts. So there's still some opportunity to snag up some value off of these fights.
Yeah, no, definitely. One thing I would note to anyone who's got a Bet Victor account, they are notoriously really not the opposite of sharp when it comes to MMA. Their odds are always consistently the biggest. So if you
what are they showing over
account,
there on your screen for Kyle Dawkins?
Let me have a look, mate. But yeah, they're always the highest in odds. Unfortunately, they just closed down my account, so the bastards. So they're for this one they're a 1.33 for Kyle Dawkins. So that's pretty market standard, isn't it?
Yeah, 1.33 is pretty standard. I mean, it's still.
You get 1.4 at Betfred.
Yeah, 1.4. Wow.
Yeah,
that's great. That's incredible.
So if you got Betfred, you'd probably have a crack at 1.4 for Kyle Dawkins there.
And if I lived in Europe, I wouldn't last like a day. Go all over the place.
There's just so many bookies, isn't there?
Yeah.
All right, so that's all we've got really. We've got some questions coming through here. I haven't really had a look at them. I'll see if there's anything relating to. There's just a long conversation going here. I don't think there's anything here related to the UFC, but we do have. I mean, we had this guy come in. His name's I'll get his question. Oh, not his question. His statement up. You'll like this, Harout. He goes, Kamenstek. He goes, Pinnacle is barely sharp anymore. Only league they have any respect left in is the most liquid, biggest soccer league. So he's basically saying that Pinnacle are only really sharp in soccer, and everything else they've lost liquidity at. What would you say to that, mate?
I guess in terms, I'm trying to put my answer together correctly. I mean, as far as soccer goes, I mean, they are the sharpest. So if we're saying, we're comparing their soccer markets to other leagues, they're probably not as sharp. But I mean, at the end of the day, what their software is all based on auto movers. So anytime somebody places a bet, they're just inevitably going to shape the market. So I wouldn't really agree that Pinnacle isn't the sharpest, because their numbers are all based on bets coming in. So anytime there is, I feel like a value opportunity sitting at Pinnacle, it just generally doesn't last that long, because if you bet it, it'll automatically move the lines. So I feel like it'll over time become the sharp market as we get closer to game time.
Yeah.
Maybe their openers in other leagues are not that sharp. So I can agree with him there. I do see that sometimes. Like some spots I bet into Pinnacle earlier as well. So maybe they're just not good at originating the market right from the start. But in terms of like reaching the sharp number closer to game time, I think that they're still sharp there.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to also ask about the Paul Craig Shogun Hua fight. I was wondering if you thought, has there been much movement there at all? Because they've already fought before. They went to a majority draw, I think it was. I was just wondering what your thoughts on that, if there was any movements there for either fighter.
Who? What was the fight name you said? You cut off.
Oh, sorry, it doesn't say Shogun, does it? Mauricio Hua versus Paul Craig.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it here. Let me take a look at the exchange.
We've got someone asking about the Aston Villa game here too. I'm just trying to see. So they're playing Brighton and they're at 2.2. Aston Villa.
Yeah, that looks a solid price, to be fair. I'm not sure. I think Aston Villa are unbeaten against Brighton in the last 8 or something like that nature. They've not really got any injuries to contend with. I mean, all right, you've got Bjorn Engels and Frederick Gilbert are definitely out, as well as centre forward Wesley and Tom Heaton. But you'd argue, even if those were fit at the moment, they wouldn't be getting into the current starting lineup for Villa. So yes, obviously had a great result last time, winning 3-0 away at Arsenal. You've got to be wary of fatigue slightly, but they've had a large number of players off on international duty, so that'll be a worrying thing. Don't want to, obviously, as you said earlier, they're just coming back from international duty, so wouldn't want to kind of make them too tired. For Brighton, you've got obviously the captain is back, Lewis Dunk. Obviously, we had a 3-match ban, so he would definitely return to the side, most likely in place of I'd imagine Joel Veltman. But aside from that, Graham Potter, to be fair, you should probably stick with the side that drew with Burnley. It had a dominant display, should have won the game, obviously. But yes, it'll be a good game. I think Aston Villa to win at home at 2.2 is a fairly good price, but I think it'll be a tough game for them. I don't think it'll be easy by any stretch, particularly with Dunk coming back. He organises that back line for Brighton so well. Brighton have got a few players out, if you like. We've got Aaron Connolly's doubtful, as is Trossard, and Solly March. Izquierdo's looking like to be out. So, they've got a few players missing, but the main sort of players in the side, apart from Trossard, are available. So it'll be a tough game for Villa, but I'd still fancy him to overcome Brighton, I'd have thought. But yeah, we'll see. I think 2.2 is a good price there.
Okay. Sorry, mate. Back to you, Harout. What about the Paul Craig fight?
In a numbers perspective, I'm not really seeing anything that I would play here. But The matchbook is kind of interesting. Someone has like a bid set at -160 for Paul Craig, so that means someone's willing to pay 2.6 on Mauricio for a decent amount at matchbook. So it's one of those things where I'll factor this in if I don't really see like a value bet available just sitting there in the market. I'll reference an exchange to kind of see and get more information. That's the best bit of information I can share there. So someone's willing to pay in that 2.6 range for Mauricio. So it looks like there would be some support on that side as opposed to on Paul Craig.
Okay. All right. Terrific. All right, fellas. I reckon that just about wraps it up. We'll we still haven't got the best bets of the weekend. Bloody hell. I'm not having a good time over here. We'll start with you, Georgie, mate. You've mentioned right at the start you built some anticipation, mate, when we were talking about the Man City Tottenham game. Best bet of the weekend, mate. I'm assuming it's coming from there.
It is indeed, yeah. I thought I'd be brave and go back to normal league football with a bang, straight into the Premier League. None of this La Liga or Serie A nonsense. Straight into the one we all love. So I'm going to the Spurs City game. And the bet is for Spurs to. It's a bet builder. So for Spurs to score, City to see a card, and City to score under 3 goals. The reason I've gone with that one is City have scored 2 or more in just once in their 4 away games, so just 25% of them this season. And as mentioned, that was against Wolves in the opening game. And Spurs have conceded 3 or more just once in 4 home games. That was against West Ham, who they're notoriously just bad against anyway. And this has landed in 4 out of the 6 most recent head-to-heads when Spurs have been playing at home as well. The referee for this one's Mike Dean. We all know about Mike Dean and his reputation. So in the last 20 games that he's officiated, the away side has been booked. I've seen at least a card in 17 of them. So that's 85% of Mike Dean's last 20 games. And this fixture often throws up cards. It's just one of those fixtures in terms of the way that both his teams play. City are very aggressive in trying to get the ball back, and it often leads to fouls, as we've seen a number of times with Kyle Walker this season. It's not my bet of the weekend, but I do like Kyle Walker to get booked at 4-1. I think that's a great price, and I'm pretty sure it landed in the last fixture, and Spurs at home to City as well, because I think 38% of the play goes down Spurs' left side this season when they're attacking. And if Son's available, you can be up against Walker, and obviously Son's been fouled quite a lot. He's won a lot of fouls so far this season. So I think Walker at 4-1 is a great price to be booked. But for the bet of the weekend, it is Spurs to score, City to see a card, and City under 3 goals. And that's at 11-10 or 2.1 for those of you that use decimals.
Terrific, mate. And Harout?
I'm probably going to go, in terms of like plays that I've played in UFC, my best bets are the Kyle Dawkins. I also played a little bit on Cynthia Calvillo. Against Chukagian. She's Armenian, by the way, so I'm betting against an Armenian.
Wait, who's Armenian?
Yeah, Caitlin. Caitlin Chukagian's Armenian. Yeah.
What the hell? Are you serious?
Yeah, she has some Armenian in her. Her last name's Armenian.
She does not look Armenian at all.
Yeah, I think she's mixed.
Whoa! Let's not go there.
All right.
Anyways, yeah, I like Dawkins a lot. It's clearly been one of the biggest movers on this card. I feel like you could still get something. And if I was in Europe, I would bet it still at a few places. So I feel like what I'm sharing with you guys, there's still some value to be had in that line. Just try to play behind Penny. Still, like don't go and bet like an efficient price, but I'm sure with all the sports you guys have available, though, even if you look for something on Cynthia Calvillo and Kyle Dawkins, you'll still be able to snag some value up behind Pinnacle, and you're going to put yourself in a good spot to bet on something right now that still has a chance of continuing to go in that direction. In terms of the Premier League, I'll do a little bit of a recap on the bets that I'll probably start looking at getting a little bit of action on, and that was the Liverpool total overs at 2.01. I can get the over 3, but obviously that's an anti-George play, so use at your own discretion. And also the Man City game against Tottenham, I do like the overs there. So that's pretty much what I would feel comfortable sharing with you guys, that you guys would get some nice closing line value on.
Awesome, mate. You've gone out with a bang. There's plenty there. Plenty of chew to. Oh god, plenty of fat to chew on, as they would say. Plenty of chew to fat on. All right, you can find these guys. So you got C George Gamble on Twitter at C George Gamble, and obviously check out his stuff that he's been doing for We Love Betting. Make sure to follow at BetLikeHarout on Twitter, and he's not here, but make sure to follow at SM Sports Trader Ryan Bruno for anything MMA. We'll finish off with the quiz question, fellas. So I'll repeat it once again if I can get the quiz question up. It is the first 3 clubs to be relegated from the Premier League. So that was in the 92-93 season. The first 3 clubs to be relegated. What do you think? We'll go with Harout first, as always. Do you want to have a punt, mate? First, give me one, mate.
Man, I don't even know who was in the league. What kind of a question are you giving me? But I'll give it a go.
Sick of you blokes winning. Maybe could I give you a few options, or?
Yeah, give me a few options. I'll see what makes
I was
the
going to
most
blow it
sense.
away because I know 2 of the 3.
You know 2 of them. All right. Well, why don't you give me 2 of them then, George?
Well, so I know for a fact it was one of them's Nottingham Forest. I'm pretty sure it is Brian Clough's last season at the club.
Correct.
So he went. I know the other one was Crystal Palace.
Correct.
And the other one, I feel like I know the other one, but I'll hold on for the time being and see if Harout gets it.
Yeah, give me a multiple choice, and I'll.
This is multiple choice on the spot. All right, so I'll give you A, Watford, B, Brighton, C, Middlesbrough, or D, Charlton.
Wow, that's blown my. I thought the other one was Oldham.
I'm gonna go with the. I'm gonna go with C because you always hide the winner in C. So I'm gonna go out with a bang because I feel like I got a good chance to win it.
Well, it's obviously C.
What was C, mate? What was C?
Middlesbrough.
Oh, bastard.
Can you just clarify for me? Where did Oldham finish that season then?
Oh, I can't tell you, mate. They didn't get relegated.
Wait, he can't tell you because you don't know.
Wait. Hang on. Is it 92, 93?
I got these questions online, mate. I don't look up if he answered wrong.
He doesn't know. You can't ask him quiz questions.
No, I've got it here. So yeah, it was obviously Palace, Middlesbrough, and Forest that got relegated. Crystal Palace were 20th with 49 points, and Oldham were 19th with 49 points. It was just goal difference. That's a shame.
I've got to, you got to give some prompts to yourself there, George. I mean, to get 2, that's pretty remarkable, mate.
Well, it's, like I said, 1 was all right because it was Brian Clough's. Like, it's just common knowledge. It was pretty sure it was last season when they got relegated.
Were Man City even in the Premier League back then?
Were Man City even in the Premier League? Of course, we were in the Premier League back then.
No, really? Did they ever get relegated?
Yeah, we did.
That oil money, mate. Just all the oil money. Eh?
Oh, don't start. One of these now. Do you know what? I saw it today online. It was because of the old insults were, but there's been no City fans except since 2008. It's like, and then I started today. Obviously, these new generation are getting Twitter because City haven't even had fans since 2013. Another 5 years gone now. Like, what's that all about?
Oh, mate, you've mastered that accent of just the absolute fuck with it.
The thing is, I buy it horribly. Like, my mates will, honestly, in the group chat, there's so much anti-City stuff just because they know I will nibble.
Yeah.
Can't help it.
Well, I mean, we've just seen their first hand, haven't we?
There you go.
All right. Fellas, that'll do us. I think maybe me and George, mate, we should have a quick round of applause for Harout for his time on the podcast. Give him a little golfer's clap.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that you guys had me on the podcast. And like I said, it's not going to be a forever thing. It's just the busy season's coming along. So maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah.
Hopefully so, mate. Hopefully so.
Maybe we can get you on every night for the UFC, mate. Because
anytime there's a big card, let's do something. But every week, I don't know if I can make a commitment at the moment. But just send me a message and we'll make some guest appearance or something.
There we go. We've locked him in on the spot. We've got him video, everything. He's locked in for every big UFC card. So every weekend he's back.
But put his name on the check.
He's gonna message me every weekend. Hey, he's gonna message me every weekend. Hey, it's another big card today.
Oh, classic.
Harout at the wheel. He's back.
Harout at the wheel. There we go. All right. Too easy, fellas. Next podcast will be coming out on Monday. So that'll be talk to a fella named Scott Ferguson yesterday. Bit of a gambling industry extraordinaire. He's been just about every betting job you could imagine. So that was a fun conversation with him. But thanks for listening, everyone. Make sure to do a quick rate and review of the podcast and subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're looking to implement some of the strategies we talked about today, more so the value betting ones, start a free week trial of TradeMate Sports. And just before I say goodbye, make sure everyone to tune in because I'm about to finish the podcast with an epic outro. So I'm very excited to play this one. But thanks, fellas, for coming on once again. And won't see you next week, Harout, but I'll see you next week, George.
See you then, pal. Take it steady, Harout. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, man. You too.
Outro. Come on.